Good morning, good day, and good evening. Welcome back to episode 118 of Tech of a Tea. I am, as always, your host, Brody Robertson, and if you look around the studio, the room, whatever you want to call it, you probably notice that things have changed once again. So I finally got around to putting the posters up, which you can probably see if I do that. I just press the settings on one of my monitors. So we've got four of them here. Got the Greninja, we've got the Sakura one there. You can't see them from where the camera's placed, but there is a Saber Lily and also a Saber there. And then back there is another 6 of them. You can see the Makoto from Persona 5. There's Madoka there. I think you can probably just make them out. There's the Alolan Marowak and then the original legendary birds from Pokemon. There's another 2 there, but you can't see them here. I think it's a Saitama and also like Saitama from One Punch Man. And then there's a Heaven's Feel one as well. I think I did show the posters on the podcast at one point, but I didn't show them when they're actually like put up. So that's finally done. Also, I've moved my whiteboard here. So if you watch some of my recent videos, like any of the ones that not just record in this room and are remotely timely, I've got just random text written here. I was just recording a video about Discord and Pipewire, like how Discord is basically a mess under Linux, and it's mainly a mess under Linux because they just don't want to update Electron. Like, they don't really have to, do anything to support Pipewire capture under Wayland, because that's already supported in the newer versions of Electron. They're just running 13.6.6, yeah, 13.6.6, which was only released 5 months ago, but the 13 series is a year old, I want to say, maybe a bit more than a year old, and a lot of things that you'd expect to be there are not there, like Pipewire capture for one of them. Another being XGG desktop portals, so if you want to do things like open a file chooser and you don't want it to be the GTK file chooser, you can't really do that. If you're on the Flatpak side, the Flatpak sandbox is a mess because the file chooser is not available. So all of these things are just not a great situation for what Discord was in. So I put this right here, Gamers Rise Up, and I'm probably going to just put something random here depending on which videos I'm recording. Just because I change this so often right now, I've actually just got the whiteboard markers sitting on my desk. So if anybody has any suggestions about what they want to put up or something like that, maybe if they suggest a video topic along with something to put on the whiteboard, or maybe I'll ask my patrons what they want to see put up on the whiteboard, like do a do a raffle or something like that, and then once a week, whatever is selected, like whoever's selected can choose to put something up on the whiteboard. Maybe I'll do something like that. I already just had the whiteboard sitting around, so I felt like, hey, I've got this extra bit of like section of my frame. I might as well just put something here, just to have a little bit of fun. Also, in the backdrop there, you might notice that the figures have slightly changed. Not changed, more like there we go, that way. Not really changed, more like I actually just took them out of their box finally. So now they're not sitting in them. I've thrown the boxes out, and it looks a little bit cleaner up there. I've still got some of the Nendoroids in the box just because I haven't bothered to take them out yet. I'll get around to it at some point. I actually don't even remember what Nendoroids are still in the box. There are Vanilla and Chocolat from Nekopara. There's a Ilia from Ilia in her Fate Prisma Ilia form, that one. Prisma Ilia form, and then a Maki Nishikino Nendoroid. The ones that are unboxed, Mash from Fate Grand Order, Rough Talia, and then Shivi from No Game No Life, from the prequel. Volume 6, and the movie was called No Game No Life 0, I think it was. That sounds correct to me, but don't quote me on that. Also, my desk has changed. You probably don't notice that too much. Like, it looks slightly different on the camera, but the main difference is the fact that it is... Wait, let's see if we can do it. It's a standing desk. That looks so cool on the camera. Wow, I didn't actually realize. That looks so cool, actually. Anyone just listening to the audio version just have probably no idea what's going on. But yeah, now the desk is set at 109 centimeters. So if I stand up then, it's a little bit low based on where the camera is located. Just because, you know, when you're sitting at a... when you're sitting at a chair, you're always going to be a little bit lower than you otherwise would be when you're standing. So I think if I put it at like this height or so, it looks a little bit closer to where everything, or having everything set up like it is currently set up, but then I can't really comfortably use this desk. So I sort of prefer it to be a little bit lower at this right here. So if I was going to record like this, I would probably raise up the camera. Like, I've got the camera on, I don't know why I'm pointing to it. I've got the camera on like a metal bar. So I would raise the camera up a little bit. I could always just, you know, point the camera further up, and that also works as well. But maybe I'd want to, I don't know if that works. So I'd want to like maintain the same angle that I've got, like when I'm actually like sitting lower. I'm not sure which one I would actually go and do. Right now, I think it seems a little bit too low, because if I pointed it like this, I don't usually like my head being cut out of the frame. So something like this, I think, would basically be kind of how I would record it. But it does seem a little bit low for typically what I would do. So I don't know. Also, you can see my light in the background there because of like how high this currently is up. So it also doesn't work because of that. I could always raise the light higher, which I probably would if I was actually going to record like that anyway. But I made the sensible choice of getting a motorized one, because oh my god, I would not want to deal with actually turning a lever, a handle or whatever to make the desk raise up to the height that I want it to be. I would use it like once or twice and then get really, really lazy and never bother with it again. So I would highly recommend you get a motorized version. It will make it actually something you want to use. But I think I've had it set up for... I've had it set up for like 4 or 5 days. And I want to say that even with how short of amount of time I've used it for, I think you should buy a standing desk. So the way I've typically been working with it is, while I'm recording videos, right now I'm sitting down because I just don't have a standing workflow I can really deal with. But when I'm doing things like planning a video, I will partially for it, like maybe an hour or 2 hours, stand up. I will... if I'm editing videos, things like that, I will do some of that while standing. And I have had probably for the past maybe month or two, I've had this really annoying ankle problem. And I don't know why. I haven't actually gone like spoken to someone about it to like check out what's going on. But standing up while I've been doing stuff like that has actually been really helping my ankle. So, look, maybe it's just the fact that I'm sitting down all the time, and that's just, you know, you shouldn't be sitting down all the time. It's just not good for you. So, being able to stand up, and also while I'm standing, I tend to fidget, like, not necessarily with my hands, but I'll fidget with my legs. So, sometimes I'll be, like, moving around, I'll, like, stand on one leg, things like that. It just gets me, like, actually moving around a little bit while I'm still getting all of my work done. Obviously, better off just, you know, going outside and going for a walk. But if you've got shit you actually have to do, I think that a standing desk is certainly a good middle ground to, like, actually manage that. So I would highly recommend it. As I said, if you can afford it, I would To be honest, I wouldn't even recommend getting one if you can't afford to get one that is motorized, just because if other people are anything like me, you'd probably use it once and then just never get around to it again. So if you could guarantee to yourself you would actually use it with having to like raise it up yourself, go ahead and buy one that isn't motorized, but it will be much cheaper. But if you're not like that and yeah, you think that you're just not going to use it, I would suggest saving up and just buying something motorized. I think I mentioned where I got this one from, but I'll just mention it again because they actually did do something really cool today. This is from an Australian... I don't think they ship outside of Australia, so obviously you can't buy these if you're from anywhere else, but I bought mine from Lazy Masons. They made... from what I've seen, they've been a really nice desk. Granted, I've only had it for about a week, so maybe something down the line is going to be is going to break or something like that. But at least for now, it feels really solid. I do have, the desk itself is solid, but something I've got on the desk it's a little bit wonky. But I'll get into that in just a moment. So I guess because they're such a small company, they want to just check if what you got actually, showed up well, you got everything you needed, all of that fun stuff. They called me to ask if I actually got what I ordered. I have never... Why the hell do they sell vacuums? I don't know why they sell vacuums. I have never bought a product and then a couple of days later get called by the company who made it. Hey, did the... Because it shows up in two pieces. You get the desktop and then the leg separately. I'm guessing they do that because the packages... the package would probably be way too heavy if it was just shipped together. Because I think altogether it's probably a good 30 plus kilos, which... isn't super heavy, but when you're shipping something like that, it can be kind of annoying, and it can make things easily get damaged, because there are some parts in the, in the leg contraption, which could be damaged, like cables, or there's a little faceplate here that's got a display where I can actually control stuff. That's made of plastic. There's the control box, which you probably don't want to damage, and things like that. So they shipped them separately, and they wanted to check if everything actually showed up on time, showed up in one piece. They got, that everything actually was here. Because I know that one or two people did leave reviews saying that when they ordered something was missing, like a leg was missing, or a cable was missing, or something like that. They were very, happy to send something along, but, it is kind of annoying that when you buy something, for then something to just be missing straight away. It's not a good, user or purchaser experience. So I guess they just want to make sure that everything was just fine, and everything was fine. The other thing that I've done, so my desk is now much further away from the wall, and because of that, I'm now able to fit a monitor up. I'll say that again. I'm now able to fit a monitor arm. So this is a triple monitor arm. I've got my secondary monitor over here. I've got my main monitor in the center. And then I've actually gotten rid of the TV that was here before. If you've seen some of my room tour videos, things like that, you may have spotted that I had a giant ass TV sitting behind my monitors. That was there effectively as a glorified teleprompter. That's no longer there because, look, there are better solutions than having a 50 plus inch TV as a glorified teleprompter. So, I'm no longer doing that. And instead, I went and bought I think it was $100. Yeah, $100 21.5 inch monitor. I've rotated it to be in a vertical layout, and now I can just use it for my notes. And to be honest, it's a much better solution because the TV there, when I had it there, it was basically, because it was only a small corner of a 1080p display, it was these giant ass pixels of a small section of pixels, maybe like no more than 640 by 480, probably, I would have to say. But now with the vertical display, it's half of, like, I can't see the entire thing, which is still annoying, but it's fine. I get basically half of a, if it's the vertical, it'd be 1920 by 1080. So I get like 960 by 1080. Yeah, so 1080 width because it's vertical, and then 960 height, which is close to 4 by 3. I'm gonna check aspect ratio calculator. Aspect ratio. It's not exact because I don't know if it's exactly half, things like that. But let's see. So 1080 width. 9. No, stop. No, don't want to have that. Give me a custom ratio. Thank you. 1080 width. 960. Oh my god, this site is terrible. It's only for calculating. Yeah, okay. I know there are definitely calculators here that I can use. There we go. Thank you. 1080 by 960. Now give me the aspect rate. Oh my god, just give me the fucking size that I. Why is the internet terrible? I could just calculate it myself, and that would probably have saved me a lot of time. 1080 by 960. Thank you. Site does something. 9 by 8. Okay. Yeah, it's a 9 by 8 aspect ratio, which I guess is that wait, 9 is 9 by 8 closer or further from 1 to 1 than 4 by 3? No, it'd be closer because it would be closer to 1, it'd be closer to a square basically. So that's what I'm working with right now, and it means that I can actually have text that is far more readable. So I can have the text be smaller. I can have my chat up there. I can have my my stream notifications, and because of where they're located, I'm also not being blinded by my lights or anything like that. So it's just a much better solution. And I wish I'd done it earlier. It's just I didn't have the space to do it earlier because, my last house, I didn't have the room to do this. Like, I could only bring my chair back basically enough to get out of the chair. But even then, not even enough to do that because I couldn't get the chair actually out of under my desk. I'd slide out of under the chair fucking, what's the word? When you crawl under a small, you're limbo. That one. You'd limbo your way out of the chair. That's it. It's not a good idea. Would not recommend it. This is a much better option. So, monitor arms, great. They are a little bit wobbly. That's the only problem. So, I've got them tightened up like they should be, but the display, my second display, I guess because it's at the, pretty much the full extension of the arm, is a little bit shaky. The main display is basically rock solid because the way it's set up, I don't know if you've seen many triple monitor arms. Bratech triple monitor arm. Show me the picture. Here we go. Bratech triple monitor arm. Yes, here we go. This will work. Open in thingy. There we go. Here is this very low resolution image to explain my point. So the right arm, or the right monitor and the left monitor are on arms that you can fold out and basically place wherever you want. It is an absolute pain in the ass to get them to be where I want to, because I wanted them to basically be placed like my previous setup was, where I have one in the middle and then one to the left, and they're basically in line. And because they're both 27-inch monitors, and the maximum size of this arm is 27-inch, there's enough room for them, but it does limit you in where you can actually place them. So it was very fiddly to get them into the spot I wanted to be in. But then the middle display That's just on a solid metal bar with obviously with a hinge on there so you can like tilt it and rotate and things like that. But it's still on a like solid metal bar, so it has a lot less give and a lot less flex than the regular arms do. I am also not using the cable management holes on the arms. I did notice they were there. I was just like, you know what? I'm not seeing it anyway. Like, I get it if you're in an office or something like that, but for me, I'm fine with it as it is. Like, I don't know if I've shown you guys the absolute spaghetti under my desk. It's not clean. It's a rat's nest. It's a spider's nest to cable, whatever you want to call it. It's detangled enough where I can use the standing desk to its maximum height, but like it's not set up super great. So it is something I do need to actually fix. The arms wouldn't have helped with that. Maybe it would make it worse, to be honest, but it is something I should probably deal with. I did, because I wasn't sure if the cables were going to be long enough, because I'm really bad at like judging distances. Like if you say 1 meter and 2 meters, I can like roughly like guess in my head what those means. But if you say, does this need a 1 meter or 2 meter cable, I'm gonna be like, maybe one of them. So I do have actually do have a couple of new cables. I've got some new USB. These were bought in a 2-pack. USB-C cables, because the one that I had before, is that it? No, that can't be it. This is not it. This might be the old broken one. Yeah, I think it was. The cable I was using before, which should be in here somewhere. No, that's a different cable. Bring the thing over here so I can see it. Here? No, that... Ah, wait. Yes, maybe? No, that's a whole... I have too many fucking cables in here. Maybe it's not in here. That actually could be... You know what? That could be it. It could just not be in here. The cable I was using before for my controls were 1 meter cables. And a 1 meter cable is... It's usable, but it's like not really very comfortable because you don't really have much room in where you can really sit. Like sitting at this distance, it's fine, but you can't really lift the control much and things like that. So this gives me a lot more room to actually do so. I think these were 3 meter cables, but that's not what I was trying to grab there. I was going to grab the display cables. That's what I was going to grab instead. So, yeah, here we go. So, in here there is this the open one? This is not the open one, is it? No, this is the open one. Okay. Got 2 of these. Okay, I thought they sent me the wrong fucking cable. 2 of these HDMI DisplayPort cables. So the HDMI side goes into your display device. The DisplayPort side goes into your PC device, because of the way the DisplayPort protocol works, and it's not. I don't think you can even make reversible cables for that protocol. So yeah, that is a slight problem. But I think I've talked about it before, like why I'm using HDMI instead of using DisplayPort. I've had this weird problem with my primary display for, I want to say for like 6 months or so, where if I use DisplayPort, it doesn't work, like at all, which concerns me because the monitor is fairly new. I only bought it on, when did I buy it? Black Friday last year, I think. So it's a really new monitor. I think it started doing that maybe like 3 months after I bought it. So yeah, not great. But if I plug in a DisplayPort cable, this is why it makes me believe that maybe it's not the monitor itself. If I plug in a DisplayPort to HDMI cable, so I have an HDMI running into the monitor, it works, but if I bump the cable, it stops working, but it doesn't stop working if I'm using a, if I'm using my console. It only stops working if I'm using my PC. So, is it my PC causing problems? Like my GPU or my PC causing problems? Because that's the only, like, consistent factor between all of it. Which would make sense because the GPU has been getting hit pretty hard. Like, I use it to stream, I use it to render videos, and when I stream, I encode on my GPU. Also, when I capture video, I encode on the GPU as well. So it's been getting hit pretty hard for, like, a couple of years now, and I game as well, so that also is going to hit it pretty hard. So I might, like, I'm going to buy a new GPU at some point anyway, and that's going to deal with it then, but I got the long cables because I thought they were going to be needed, because I didn't actually... I bought the cables before I'd built the desk, which was not the correct purchasing decision. That's generally what I would recommend doing if you're trying to, like, fix a problem, is find out if the problem exists first, and then fix the problem, not do it in reverse. But it never hurts to have extra display cables anyway. Like, something might break or something like that, and... You know, it's fine if you have extras. You can always use them for something, or you'll find something down the line you're going to use it for, or something's going to break and you'll need it anyway, and it's good to just have it. There's plenty of reasons to have extra display cables, which is why I have an entire drawer of cables. Because of this, specifically this problem. I did also change out the cables I was using on my camera. So... You've probably seen it in the podcast, and you've probably seen it in my streams and regular videos. Every so often, you would see my camera cut out. Like, it would go blank for a second, like it, like, go glitchy or something like that, and then just come back on just fine, like nothing happened. And I didn't know what the hell that was, because it's probably not a problem with the camera. Like, the camera was still really new at the time, it's still really new now. So I've also replaced the cables on that. Once again, the main reason I bought the cables was because I wasn't sure if the current setup was going to be long enough, because what comes with the cam link is this little 15 centimeter, I don't know if that, like 4-inch like adapter cable that goes from your like, it's not adapter cable. Like, yeah, no, it is. It adapts between USB M to USB F. So you like plug that into the PC, and then you plug the other side into the cam link, because the cam link it's like structured like a USB thumb drive, but it's also really big, and you don't want to break it. So it's better to have it like on a adapter, so it can just sit there not being stressed all the time. And then the micro HDMI cable I had, that one I bought off eBay a while back. And, you know, eBay cables are sometimes great. Like, I've had some eBay cables which I've had for like 6+ years, like micro USB cables, which, you know, people don't like. Micro USB bad, and I have these cables that just last fucking forever. That I bought off of eBay for like $3. So, you know, sometimes you get good cables, other times, you know, you've not have great experience. Like, you buy a USB-C cable, I hope this one doesn't do it. You buy a USB-C cable, and then like 2 weeks later it stops working, which is not fun. And I've had that happen. I think it was when I was going to be streaming. Like, I had my cable break. Luckily, I've got my Xbox One controller and a PS4 controller, which are both... I wouldn't know. Is the Xbox One... Give me a sec. No, the Xbox One Series X is micro USB. I've got a 360 controller in here somewhere. Ah, yes. 360 is micro USB. So I can always use that, or I can use the PS4. I think I ended up just switching the game I was doing that day, to be honest. I think I just started playing something on the PS4. Or maybe it was something I started playing on keyboard and mouse. That also could have been it. Can't recall. Either way, it's good to have backups that don't rely on the exact same cabling structure. I've been talking about my room for the last 30 minutes. I actually still have like other things about the room I want to talk about, like not just the room, the house. I keep finding things that I need to do. So on, I think it was Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. I sat down, I was like, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy 14 all day. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna chill. And then I remembered I had to go clean the barbecue. Because I've had a barbecue for... I think I got it for like 16th birthday, something like that. And the gas bottle was also from my 16th birthday, so it was like 7 years old. It's fine to use. Probably not the best, but it works just fine. I hadn't cleaned it in a while. Because when I was at my last place and the place before that... I didn't really get much of a chance to use it, so it sort of just sat there. And part of the grill top was a little bit rusted. The front of it was rusted. There was a lot of grime on it, and it was just like, it's not in a state that I was gonna be using it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna get it done. I think I spent like 2 or so hours getting it cleaned up. I went and bought some stuff to like remove the rust. Some of the rust is still there, but it's not bringing up any like rust residue anymore, so it's probably safe to use. And then I put some like new grill mats over it, so like they're not, you know, even if those rusty bits aren't great to cook on, there's still mats on it, so it's gonna be fine instead. And there's just little things like that which I keep like finding that I need to be doing. And I'm sure this weekend I'm going to find something else as well. Maybe, I don't have anything in mind right now. Like, everything that I want to do for myself is done. But there might be something around the house that needs to be done. Actually, I guess there's one small thing I need to do. I've got 4 posters sitting over here. They're going to go up above the bookcase over there, which you won't be able to see during videos unless I'm doing a standing video. But I want to put those up as well, and that's probably the only main thing that I've got to do that's still like I can do right now. I do want to get another bookshelf. Probably I'm getting the same one that I've got there and just putting it over there. Yes. So that's going to be happening at some point when I get around to actually, you know, buying it. So that's not it's not a that's gonna happen right now sort of thing. Like, it'll happen some point in the future when I get around to it. When I get around to buying it, things like that. I can buy it right... Fucking hell. I can literally buy it right now and collect it in 60 minutes. You know what? I think I know what I'm doing. I think I know what I'm doing on the weekend then. I guess I'm buying another bookcase and gonna do that. See what I mean? This is the problem with moving. You keep just finding shit. You're like, I know I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. Out by the bin, there's like 2 bin loads of cardboard to go in there, but the bin's full, and then bin collection day isn't for like 2 fucking weeks, so it's just gonna sit there. At least the main stuff is done. Like, my desk is all set up. Most of my room is done. Anything that's going to change in my room is basically stuff that I want to change. It's not like major stuff that still really needs to be done. Like, I'm still considering whether I even want to put foam up. Like, I've considered it. I'm not sure just yet. Maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. I just don't know. I'll work it out at some point, but for now at least, no foam is going to be going up. I know if I do put foam up, it's probably going to mess with lighting. So there is that problem to deal with as well. So yeah. a the life of a streamer moving a streamer. I'm not a streamer. Fuck, I barely ever stream. A video content creator moving into a new house, finding shit to constantly do. So considering that everything's basically done, I might maybe if I do a house tour, it'll probably be after everything in the rest of the house is done. So even though the room is done itself, I'll probably just leave that for a little bit longer then. Maybe like another month or so. It's like there's no rush to do. I've got plenty of other things I can certainly talk about. So it's not like I need to do it at this very moment, basically. But it is what it is. Speaking of it is what it is, we're going to stop talking about the house now and talk about something else. Now that everyone stopped watching, let's talk about what we'll talk about. Oh, something I actually missed last week, and I don't know how I missed it. But so Final Fantasy XIV now actually properly works on the Steam Deck, and not just on the Steam Deck, on Linux as well. It was working just fine before. That's the thing. So the problem that the 14 had is the new launcher. So there's a legacy launcher and the like standard new launcher. The legacy launcher was the only launcher that functioned. Now, this was fine. Like, you could play with it. Everything did what it needed to do. The only problem with the legacy launcher is that it was a legacy launcher. And by being a legacy launcher, you know, it might at some point be removed. So making sure the game functioned before that happened was gonna be good. So this affects both the Steam version and also the Windows version. Do you need to play 14 through Steam, or can it be installed in the OS? I asked because Steam needs its own license. Oh, that's funny. You think that the license is you think the license is transferable or is compatible between the Windows and the Steam version? That's funny. No, you need to buy the game again and make a whole new account, because their account system is god-awful and there's no reason for it. People have said some things like, oh, but Steam's policies mean they have to do it like this. Like, they don't have to make the account system like this. Have you seen Path of Exile? Path of Exile doesn't have this problem. It's not a problem that Steam is enforcing on them. It's a problem that the 14 devs just didn't want to fix. But I'm still using the legacy launcher. I don't actually know if my install on through Lutris actually supports it just yet. I know there's probably a Lutris version of that version of Proton GE. So actually I'm going to check. So it might work. Final Fantasy 14 Lutris. Here we go. When was it last updated? It last updated 1 week and 3 days ago. So probably, yeah, it probably just, yeah, it would have been updated because of the patch that came out. Right, that makes sense. Because what a lot of people were doing is they were using the 14 launcher through Wine. So the 14 launcher was a standalone launcher, like a third-party launcher. It supported like a plugin system and things like that. And that was generally treated as the better way to play the game. Personally, I never had any issues with the official launcher. It just worked all the time for me. Like, obviously using the legacy version, but it just worked perfectly fine for me. I get people who use the 14 launcher. Like, that makes total sense. It's much lighter. It's much cleaner interface, things like that. So that makes sense. Plus, if you're using any plugins, or, you know, you just want to use something like G-Shade, like just by itself, that by itself already, you can get it working in the official launcher, but I think with the official launcher, you can't use the legacy launcher because you need to run it in like 64-bit mode, and the legacy launcher didn't work like that, or there was some weird problem that just didn't really make any sense. So the 14 launcher, from my understanding, was just considerably easier to do G-Shade, but I've tried to do G-Shade one or two times. My GPU goes from giving me a good frame rate to giving me a not a good frame rate. So I avoid running a G-Shade just to make sure I can, reasonably play the game. I would like to use G-Shade at some point, and maybe I will when I get the new GPU at the end of the year, things like that. But, right now, nothing really is going to change. Speaking of things that should have changed, though, for quite a while, Google Drive. This somehow managed to become a news story because Google Drive was still so terribly designed. It's hard to believe Google Drive just now getting a copy and paste shortcuts. I didn't even realize it was missing this. So previously, if you had files in Google Drive, I think you had to right click on a file and then there was a context menu where you could click copy and things like that. Or you could, if you're going to drag it into a folder, you could drag it into a folder. But how was it missing these shortcuts? I genuinely don't know. I don't know. I thought it was there because I was one of the very, very, very unlucky people that were a part of some of the early public beta testing for Google Drive. So my high school adopted Google Drive literally as early as they possibly could. And back then, two things were a problem. The school had a horrible connection. I think the school had 100 megabit, for the whole school. So, it wasn't fast on the best of days. But the other problem it had is Google Drive early on just wasn't good. It's not great now, but I mean, it wasn't consistent to use. Back then, it was still a lot earlier in the days of how we handle the cloud, basically. And it would randomly disconnect. You'd be typing stuff. It wouldn't save it because the saves are handled on the server side. So if the server doesn't ever see the data, nothing gets saved. You don't want to edit documents in a web setting without some form of local backup. And at least at the time, I know it does now have an ability to export stuff, but I know there's still no way to manually save it. The saves happen when Google Drive decides to do a save, which is supposed to be after every key press, but sometimes disconnects happen, things like that, and it's just not great. Or sometimes, this is the other problem with the school adopting Google Drive basically as early as possible. It was an Australian school, so we had 100 megabit, but sometimes we had 0 megabit because the connection would be down. So if all your work was in Google Drive, you just couldn't work. The way the online schooling is done now is just so much better than it was back then. The early days of online schooling in a high school setting were not good. They were really, really bad. This was online schooling, but in a physical setting. So they could fairly easily not do that. But they didn't not do that. They did that, and it was just terrible. Actually, a lot of the way that school set up its education wasn't great. So when I was there, all of the assignments, and it's probably more so now, all of the assignments were on the computer. It was either doing research assignments or writing some stuff up in Word or things like that. So, or there'd be some document and the teacher wouldn't have printouts for it because you'd be expected to do everything on the computer itself. So it wasn't a bring your own device situation. The school gave out devices. So they like effectively rented out devices to the students. Now, this was fine until they thought, hey, how do we punish the students because they're playing games, these computers? Because obviously, if you give students a computer in class, they're going to play games on it. They would then take away the device that was used to do all of your schoolwork. So you were just like, okay, well, how do I work now? And some of the teachers would try to like work around it. Like, hey, look, there's like, you can do it on paper. And it's just like, you really can't because the assignments weren't built around doing paper anymore. It was like, there was this and there was that. It was just like, it just didn't work. Like the shift towards doing purely online, even in a physical setting, had been going on for a very long time. And it just doesn't work in many situations unless you have that paper backup there for when things go wrong, because things will go wrong or you'll do something where they want to apply some punishment, things like that. But it's just a mess. And that actually segues pretty well into one of the topics I had on here, where I am delaying right now so I can find the link. Here we go. Where this professor was, professor, actually don't want to say they're professor if they weren't. They might be a professor. Let me see if it says college. College. High school. Was it high school? What age range was this in school? I have no idea what age range is. You know, we're gonna stick with professor. We'll give you the credit for something you may not be. So this guy, Matt Crump, he was running a online class. I don't recall if it said in here what the class was actually for, but these are the dumbest fucking students on the planet. So they started the class and they were doing their online education. They had the online lecture and all of that fun stuff. In the chat of the lecture, so on like Zoom and things like that, there's like a chat section, someone posted a link to a WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group was the group that everybody was using for cheating. Now, we did this when we were in uni. We just didn't post this in a place the fucking teacher could see because we weren't stupid. So they posted this link to a WhatsApp group inside of the Zoom call or whatever the system they were using to do the lecture. And the teacher saw this, but didn't tell them he saw this. He just went on with what he was doing and joined the group. He joined the group and had a little spy on what was going on. And, you know, obviously this group was going to be used for cheating because, look, I'm gonna be completely honest here. As I said, I was in a group that we would share answers back and forth the quiz, because if you're gonna do something online, people are going to cheat. Like, it's just how it is. Like, there's no, oh, this is morally wrong, or they shouldn't be doing this, how dare they do this, because you literally opened up the entire situation for cheating. If you want to have it be something where it's obvious they're caught cheating, don't just have a numbered quiz. Like, when you have a multiple choice quiz, people are going to cheat because there's no way you can determine that everybody is looking at each other's answers, because, you know, it's the answers have like a couple of choices. Give them actual assignments they need to work on, and then if they actually are cheating, you can work it out. But these students are some of the stupidest people on the planet, and yeah. If we go through this, you can actually see how bad some of them are. They did this midterm, and also the thing about them cheating is they're not just stupid in the way they cheat, they're stupid in the fact they're fucking morons. Because Where is it? If we go down a bit, oi. I think I want to say 75% of the class failed the midterm. I don't like cheating in the class. Yeah, so, sorry, 75% of the class was caught cheating. What was the percentage that failed? Because I know he said this as well. Fuck, what was it? There was a really high percentage of students that failed anyway when they cheated. Like, they just cheated badly. Like, when we were sharing answers back and forth in uni, like, everyone was sharing answers back and forth. So, like, you actually getting better answers, not just nobody has any idea what's going on. So, these guys just didn't know what the hell they were doing. And I'll show you some of the conversation, actually. So this is when the exam started. Exam starting at 1, there was an issue, got academic credit. So also, he just didn't post the exam. Like, he just didn't post it. So, that was late. I got my crystals out. The crystals crying. These have to be high schoolers, surely. No actual sane person talks like this. Did he just show the exam? He showed the exam while he was doing a video cast. And then it's up. Fuck. Oh, no, damn. We can only answer one question at a time. Wait, what? Stop. Damn it. I hate these people. Look, I hope... I actually don't feel bad for him failing them. But, like, him being so surprised that everybody was cheating when doing online exams. Online testing. Because I'm telling you right now that during that period where everyone was doing online exams, everybody cheated. Like, if you can cheat, everybody was cheating. Like, maybe they can't cheat on the PC because they are forced to use, one of the lockdown browser, things like that. But they're cheating on their phone. Or they're cheating on a separate device. Like, this idea that we could just shift everything into online schooling and then everything just worked was just not a good idea. Like, it just genuinely wasn't. Also, a lot of people, like, started turning on each other when this happened. It's like, wait, how did he find out? Who was snitching? Who's the snitch? Someone... Also, they're fucking saying sus. These are high school students. At most, these are high school students. Nah, I ain't cheat. I took that exam at 7, did it alone, still failed. Oh, Lord. But, like, this is so dumb. You guys literally posted the link to the teacher. It would be like, you literally ratted yourself out, and you're like, why does he know? Yeah, why does he know? It's a fucking mystery, isn't it? But they ended up giving he ended up giving them, like, a second chance, and some of the students were, like, still trying to cheat during this second chance. Probably, wait, was it from the same group? I didn't actually read that part. I know he did give them a second chance, and more of them were cheating. The semester from hell ended. Some students... I love the way he phrased this, as if it's somehow a surprise that people were cheating. Like, I'm telling, like, any teachers, any professors out there that may be listening to this, stop focusing on the stupid mic. Focus on my face. Well, I guess I'm going to be blurry. If you do online schooling, most people are cheating. And that's how it's going to be. You can focus on my face. There we go. No, stop focusing on my face. What are you doing? Good? No? Why is it just going to keep me be blurry? What are we doing here? Why is my camera doing this? Okay. We good? I think we might be. Maybe. Whatever. I'm just going to leave it like this, and if I'm blurry for the rest of the podcast, it is what it is. I found this on, I found this post on Hacker News, like, and the guys on Hacker News were being Hacker News stuff pretty much, pretty much just saying, hey, this is crazy. Wow. Education bad. Education needs reform. Also, he got a second group of students doing the same thing. Is this just an American problem? Are Americans just really fucking stupid? Because, like, in Australia, we understand how to cheat. Like, we understand that, like, if you want to cheat on multiple choices, you want to do things like that, you don't give the fucking teacher the link to the group. Like, how are you people so dumb? Do you not have friends? Share it with your friends and they'll share it to their friends. Don't do it in this really stupid way. Man, students are dumb. Maybe everyone's just gotten really dumb over the past couple of years. Maybe that's the case. And then, yeah, he joined the new group and... yeah. Like, what are we even doing here? Moment student being their best selves. They weren't... Sure, they weren't cheating. Yeah, I'm sure they weren't. Okay, I guess the second group was slightly less dumb. Don't fucking share the WhatsApp to the teacher. Look, that's my conclusion here. Don't share the WhatsApp to the teacher unless you want to be kicked out of school. Because it's a bad idea. Speaking of bad ideas, digital licenses. So, Australia, the bastion of good tech security and sensible design. Yeah. We've been rolling out digital licenses in a couple of states for quite a while. Australia, though, we like to pretend like we are America sometimes, and each state does a different thing, but then they're all controlled by the federal government, but, like, they still have different implementations for things that don't make any sense. So, we like do this half American thing. Anyway, New South Wales has got their own digital driver's license thing, and it's not well designed, because why would it be? As I've demonstrated in the past about government-designed tech, it's usually bottom of the barrel. Insecure by design. 5 separate design flaws were discovered in the New South Wales DDL app. This is the Digital Driver's License app. Combining the flaws presented a favorable scenario that could be exploited by any would-be attacker or fraudster. First and foremost, for efforts at cracking the app, it only uses a 4-digit PIN to unlock. When you have a 4-digit PIN, your 4-digit PIN should be on a number of tries, like 3 tries, and then you're locked out. That's the reason things do that with pins, because pins are inherently insecure. And that code is also, wait for it, the decryption key for the license, which is stored in a JSON file. So, you guessed the PIN, you know the decryption key. Okay? It's also a JSON file, so you can parse this and do whatever you want to it very easily. With a Python script in a laptop, Farmer, the guy who was doing this, was able to brute force it in minutes. The fact that it took you minutes to brute force that is genuine... Okay, minute. Minute is the better way to describe it. Okay, skip ahead to when you're actually doing it. So here's the pin. Types the thing. Wait, is he brute forcing? No, he's not brute forcing it by hand, is he? Okay, I was gonna say. So he's got this Python script here. Oh my god, it doesn't seem to have a limit on how many times you can enter the pin. That's so badly designed. Oh my god. So basically you just you like connect to the device and then you can just start passing in numbers to decrypt it. And all you need to do is extract the decrypted data, the encrypted data, and then run your encrypt. You don't even need to pass in that. Oh my god, you don't even need to pass it into the app, do you? Because if you extract the encrypted data and then you just try to brute force the encryption key, you just run through all, 10,000 options, and there you go, you have the key. Oh my god, that's so bad. Additionally, the app never validates the digital driver's license data with the New South Wales government records. Fails to refresh license data properly, transmits minimal data info in its QR code, which is alterable. QR codes, a terrible way to transfer any data, and includes license data in device backups, which means that attackers or anyone wanting to commit fraud can modify their license details without needing to jailbreak the device. So, if you decrypt the JSON data, you can then replace the information with whatever you want, and the app just accepts it. It doesn't validate it with the servers. It's just like, okay, there's a JSON file here. That's fine. It might freak out if you add fields, but if you just modify it, it just doesn't care, apparently, which is terrible. So, if you wanted to do something, I'm not suggesting you do this. If you wanted to do something like, I don't know, change your date of birth because you want to buy some alcohol at the pub, you know, places where they don't exactly validate the information on there, the New South Wales government literally gives you a tool to fake your license. That's how badly designed this is. Additionally, the app never read that. According to Farmer, all of the security features include New South Wales DDL, like here's the other thing, like an animated New South Wales government logo, refresh rate, QR code, moving hologram, and watermark are retained when making changes to the license data. So all of these things in here are basically, so if you have a picture of your license, obviously a picture is very easily modifiable. They include these features, so like making a fake app that would include all of these things wouldn't be difficult to do. It would be tedious though. And if all you want to do is get a fake license, it's a little bit harder to do that than just, you know, modifying a bit of information. But all of this keeps working. So if you show it to someone, they will see this data and say, okay, it's a real license. It's from the New South Wales government app, and it's fine. The New South Wales Service New South Wales, the government agency that runs the app of the same name, told the Register the flaws that Noah found are not a threat to users or the integrity of the DDL. This is what the Australian government likes to do. Like every state government, the federal government, they like to pretend that problems aren't real and just make you stop talking about them. The issue is known and does not pose a risk to customer information. A spokesperson said, the blogger Noah has manipulated their own DDL information on their local device. Yes, but you know what they can also do? They can go and extract that JSON file from someone else's device through, you know, some sort of malicious code, malware, things like that, brute force the encryption key, and then they have your license. Like, then they can just load it in their app, and look, they have your license now. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean that's not a problem? Importantly, if the tampered license was scanned by police, the real-time check used by New South Wales police would show up the correct personal information. Now, that is true. So, if you got pulled over by a cop, don't show the cop your fake license. That's a bad idea. And that's true in a digital sense and a physical sense. Don't show the cops your fake license. Bad idea. The DDL was independently assessed by cyber specialists and is more secure than the plastic card. Yes, more secure than the plastic card. You literally give me an app where I can fake the data. Okay, sure. Honestly, faking a plastic card, it would be way harder. The spokesperson added, before pointing out that altering the DDL is a... before pointing out that altering the DDL is against the law and that Service New South Wales constantly reviews the security of its offering. Guys, fake licenses are against the law. No shit. What do you... Yeah, no shit, they're against the law. Like... Yes, that's true. You are making a fair point, but you're also trying to use it to do illegal things. I don't think you care if your license is fake. That leaves defacement attack. That leaves the defacement attack a route to create a fake ID that might fool a human in the context of moments such as proving age to getting into a pub or renting a car, but identity fraud appears not to be possible. And that's true. Sure, I'll give you that. As long as we're talking identity fraud where they're not not checking stuff. There is some cases where you might still be able to get away with stuff, but this is the main thing that people are going to be using it for. So you could have a bit of malware that... Here's one thing. You have a bit of malware that decrypts your encryption key, which would take literally less than a minute because there's 10,000 possible things that encryption key could be. They could then just do whatever they wanted to the license. Like, they could just delete all the information and your license no longer works. And this could be something just sits on your phone. New South Wales is the only place where DDL is being tested, nor the only place where they're accepted. The UK government has been testing DDL since 2016. The Secretary of State for Transport, Grant Shapps, said they may arrive before 2024. Apple Wallet added support for DDLs last year in Georgia and Arizona. Look, if it's done well, it's fine. It's functional, but like it's not done well ever. I've never seen it implemented properly. New South Wales government in denial again. It's not only police who use the license for identification. Just another poor agile implementation rushed out to meet a deadline and get some poly or bureaucrat a big bonus. Yes, the supplier is clearly in damage limitation mode. Whether the New South Wales government does the right thing is probably a function of how politically invested its current masters are in the system. If they were the ones who introduced it, then they will stick with it, but if there's been a change in government since then, they might do something more positive. What does Agile have to do with it? What Agile has to do with it is a lot of companies will use Agile as in, we don't do stuff properly, we just do it quickly. Told the register the flaws are not a threat to user integrity of the DDL. Run, Noah, run. I'll have your ID then. When stopped for a traffic violation or ID check or random heavily armed citizenship test, what are you talking about? Before pointing out the DDLs against the altering the DDLs against the law, just like there are no murders, thefts, frauds, assaults, and people don't run red lights or speed because they're against the law. Yeah, did you know that breaking the law is a crime? Breaking the law is a crime. Why did the government give you a way to fake your license? Like, this is just as bad. I've talked about this before. It's just as bad as the COVID QR code situation we had, where there was no validation of the information. You could scan the QR code, then change the data in the query string, and it would save it in their database. I didn't test it, but you know, you could probably send a bit of cross-site scripting. You could send a bit of, SQL injection into their site, drop the database, things like that. It's obviously a major crime to do that, but they just set it up so it's entirely possible. I don't know if there's a flaw in the system they had, but as I said, when the Australian government implements some sort of new tech system, it's either really, really, really over-engineered in places that it doesn't need to be, or it's so terrible that someone finds a flaw within like 5 minutes of looking at it. Which was the QR code case when I looked at those, and this case when this guy was messing around with the 10,000 options of a fucking decryption key. That's still so stupid. How there are only 10,000 variants of the decryption key. Like, anybody with a fucking brain can tell you that's not a good idea. Actually, it might be more than 10,000, actually. It's not much more than 10,000, but it might be a bit more. Ignore me, I forget how permutations work. Anyway, it's still not good. Speaking of things being terrible, Netflix is still going along with their we don't like account sharing thing. And it's not going super well. So they were doing a bit of a test. Like most big companies, Netflix, Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of them, they will never roll out a change to the entire world all at once. When they're doing some of their early testing, they'll always do it in certain regions or with certain user groups, things like that, so they can still get feedback on it, but if it doesn't work or leads to some massive flaw, massive vulnerability, things like that, it's not, given to the entire world. So, Netflix anti-password sharing experiment in Peru reportedly leaves users confused because they didn't inform people that it was happening. So in Peru, Chile, and Costa Rica, I don't know why these are the places they picked. Someone said to me that they are fairly small markets, which I guess would make sense, but it wasn't done properly. So apparently they didn't tell a lot of people, they didn't just, no email or anything like that. So unless you read the news about what was happening, you just wouldn't know the change was coming in. People thought, hey, look, Netflix is broken. Why is this happening? Also, there is the we don't understand the definition of what a household is. Like, is a household physically living on the same property? Or is a household your family? And if it is living in, physically on the same property, what if someone is traveling somewhere? Now they're not in your household. Now they are in a separate household. Or what if they are a live-in worker somewhere, like they work in the mines or something like that, and they live there for 1 or 2 weeks at a time. Are they living in your household? Or are they living in your household during the time they're living in your household, and then other times they have to go and buy their own account? All of these problems are problems that didn't need to be thought about until Netflix started to do this, which the fact that Netflix is doing this when Netflix is already hemorrhaging users, it doesn't make any sense to me. You would think you'd want to be doing something that your users would be a fan of, encourage them to buy another account. Maybe they get maybe you get a I don't know, well, they'd already do discounts for getting, multiple users on the same account. So things like that. Maybe if you bought your own separate account, there would be some benefit you get from doing that. But just saying, no, you're not allowed to have a single account, you must now go and buy multiple. A lot of people just aren't gonna deal with that, basically. The other thing about Netflix doing this in Chile, Costa Rica, and the other one I said, Peru? Yes. Is their fees in those regions are very low. Still probably high considering the cost of living in those areas, but much lower than the American prices. So, in Chile, it is $289 for, I think it's an extra, yeah, for an extra account, it's $289. Costa Rica, it is $213. Wait. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. In Chile, it's $289. In Costa Rica, it's $299. And then in Peru, it is $213. So it's much, much less expensive, or much, much less of a potential profit loss if people in those regions, just really don't like the change and say, fuck it, we're just gonna not use Netflix instead. I I really don't expect them to actually be able to bring this worldwide as they think they can. Because people don't want to do this. Like, that they've been using a single account for so long that why would they just suddenly give you more money because you ask for more money? If you want to do that, you've got to give them some sort of incentive. And that's why a lot of people did start deleting their accounts when the prices started going up. So, I know, for example, my sister, she had a Netflix account. She was using it, every so often, but not enough that really justified the prices rising and rising and rising. So ultimately, she ended up canceling it. Plus, in Australia, more local alternatives like Stan, for example, have a much better catalog than Netflix do. Like, a lot of what Netflix does have, and then a lot of stuff they just don't. I think in Australia, like, one of the only ways to watch Mr. Robot, for example, if you want to watch it on a monthly streaming service, is through Stan. I think you can buy it on like Apple TV, and you can maybe buy it on like Google Play. But if you want to have it on a streaming service, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's one of the few ways to do it. Man, the licensing situation with streaming services is probably one of the biggest things that's actually holding them back from properly being this like worldwide thing. Like, I've talked about this before. I'm not gonna get too into it, but the reason my Steam is so convenient, and the reason my game piracy went so down as Steam gained popularity, is because, like, there's no, for the most part, exclusivity stuff. Like, I can buy it on Steam, and it might be on other stores, but like, it's on other stores. It'll be in every region the user wants to sell it in. It's the way that TVs and movies are done, it's sort of done backwards. So when you're a game seller, you're like, I want to sell in these regions. But when you've got a movie, you've got a TV show, things like that, you've got the streaming services that are saying, we want to distribute these in these areas. So instead of being on the distributor side so instead of being on the developer side or the creator side on the game side, it's on the distributor side. So it's like flipped the entire thing on its head, which leads to these really just insane like blockages and insane just limitations on what you can actually view and where you can view it, and it's just not a good user experience. So I don't expect Netflix to really be able to push this through as much as they really think they can. Maybe they can, but I wouldn't be more surprised if when they start doing this in Western regions, if they do start losing more and more users and they don't get more people like buying more accounts. It just ends up causing people to go to other services where they might get better deals, they might not be bothered about account sharing, things like that, or they might just accept piracy and just say, you know what, if everything is going to be a mess like this and I can't watch what I want to watch, why don't I go through the method that was going to give me what I wanted anyway? And that's probably what's going to happen. It is what it is, basically. So game streaming, while we're talking about streaming, game streaming is slowly becoming more and more of a thing. When it first came out, I was of the camp that, game streaming, it's not going to be this widespread thing. It's going to be a very niche thing that maybe a couple of people will do. It's not really. You've got Google's thing, and we can talk about Stadia being, Stadia is dead. Now, Stadia is doing relatively well. Nvidia's got their thing. Microsoft has got their thing. And Microsoft might be making a dongle for game streaming. This, I guess, would be like it would, I guess, be akin to a Chromecast. So instead of having to, normally you would have to have your Xbox or have your PC hooked up to your TV or monitor, things like that. This would be like a purely streaming system. So you would say there'd probably be like a Android based system. You would go onto their app and decide, I want to play this game, I want to play that game, and none of the processing outside of obviously basic processing for like the video decoding would be done on the device. And I think this makes a lot of sense for the direction that like game streaming could go. Because if you have a gaming PC, if you have a console, like you're not the primary audience for game streaming like this. Like if you already have them, you might as well just play the games locally, get a better experience. In many cases, it'll be cheaper because you don't end up like, especially for long games, you don't have these recurring fees happening every month. Especially if you want to play older games as well. Like a lot of games you might want to play, you can probably pick up pretty cheap and you don't have to worry about it being removed from the service, things like that. But if you're not like that, you're someone who wants to try out gaming. Instead of having to buy right now in Australia, like a PS5 is like $1,000. Let's say this dongle could be like $100. That would be a much, much more compelling deal. Plus, obviously, I didn't know this, but apparently GeForce Now is being included in some smart TVs. Personally, I'm not a fan of the whole smart TV meme. I don't think it's a great idea. The problem with a TV, as opposed to a phone, is a phone for most people is a typically disposable device. Like, you'll get a new phone if you're on a phone plan, like once every year, once every 2 years. I personally don't use a phone plan. I have had my phone for like 3 or so years, but most people won't keep their phone around for that long. So the fact that security updates and feature updates don't last that long isn't really a major detractor for many people. But TVs are different. If you have an Android-based TV, you have an Apple-based TV, whatever you have, you're not going to replace that TV that often. So if there is an app you're using and it's like a 5 or 10-year-old TV, it's very unlikely that is still being supported. No smart TVs have been around long enough to really get to that point, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are already not getting updated as much as you would like. So instead of doing that, having a dongle that you can plug into the system that's a much cheaper device that you can go and update and you can go and replace, and you can keep your 10-year-old TV and then just be like, I want to get the Microsoft 1 dongle, the Microsoft 2 dongle, things like that. I think for a lot of people would be a lot easier of a purchase to accept. Even for me, to be honest, like, I would be more willing to accept that if that was the way they wanted to handle it. This is the kind of thing that has a chance of really succeeding. Exactly. Thank you. Someone who actually has a brain. A service that already stands apart from streaming but is available as an option to the side. Hopefully this will allow it to stick around, grow and improve instead of dying a slow death from launch. Most game stream... There are some game stream services that are basically dead, but most of them have their user base, and is what it is. Oh, there we go. Went to the wrong screen. Exactly. The most common complaint with streaming service is how it's separate from your existing game library. Yeah, that's the other thing that's... Is that what it's planning on doing? I actually didn't fully read this. All I read was there was going to be a dongle. I didn't know it was going to be your existing library. I know it's going to be Game Pass, obviously, if this does happen. But would it allow you to... either way, it would... If it's even just like, you know, you get a certain set of games every month, or there's like a certain set of games that are on our streaming service, even just that by itself is perfectly fine. I think this is a better way to handle streaming. I don't think it's a bad option to have it there for the more hardcore people if they want to use it. Like, if you have a Xbox, you have a Windows PC, you have... Preferably make it work on Linux as well. That would also be good. But if you have a device, I don't think you should stop people doing the game streaming on there. But I also think that if you want it to be a more widespread thing, giving people a much cheaper entry point is probably a more an easier way an easier way to get regular people involved. Speaking of regular people, something French. How do we segue this? Speaking of regular people, the French Academy doesn't like you. There we go. France bans English gaming tech jargon in push to preserve language purity. Government officials must replace words such as esports and streaming with French-approved versions. So obviously they can't control what, the every day-to-day person is going to be saying. But if some government broadcast is talking about pro gamer, they have to say this. I'm going to put this into Google Translate.
Joueur professionnel.
Yeah, there you go. Or if they're a streamer, they are this right here. Wait for it. Live player host.
Joueur animateur en direct.
Because, I get it. I totally get it because Japanese has a problem as well, where there's a lot of words that come in from other languages which don't fit the language structure, and if you're not involved in the scene that uses that language, it's gonna seem like a really weird word. Like if you're a gamer and if you're a French gamer, you probably know the word, streamer. You probably know the word pro gamer, things like that, or esports. But if you're a regular person, the word esports doesn't really jive with the way the rest of the language works. Like one example from Japanese is the word for coffee, which is kohi, which doesn't make any sense if it doesn't make any sense in the existing language ethos, I guess you'd put it. So if you see that word, you can't just break that word down with the understanding you have from the rest of the language and work out what it's supposed to be. And this is what the French Academy is basically trying to deal with. This is the word for cloud gaming here. Cloud video game.
Jeux vidéo en nuage.
And then esports is this one here. The other thing that it changed compared to the video game, that actually does make sense.
Jeux vidéo de compétition.
The problem with this, though, is it does make it a lot more verbose. A lot more it makes it a lot less convenient of a word to say. But French is a prescriptive language, whereas English is a descriptive language. Actually, here we go. Here's what the French Academy had to say about this. Centuries-old language watchdog, the French Academy, warned in February of a degradation that must not be seen as inevitable. It highlighted terms including train operator, SNCF's brand Ouigo, pronounced Ouigo, along with straightforward imports such as big data and drive-in. They really don't like company. I do wonder how they deal with companies like Google. I wonder if they have. Wait, does the French government have a French word for Google? I wouldn't be surprised considering the French Academy. But yeah, I was saying French is a prescriptive language where English is a descriptive language. So in French, it has the French Academy. The French Academy is like the Unicode standards body. They exist there to basically maintain the language, maintain the standard, They define what is included in the language. They don't define how regular people are going to use the language. Regular people use it however they want to use it. If they want to anglicize it, they will anglicize it. But they basically manage what is going to be in the language, whereas on the English side, let's take the Oxford Dictionary, for example. Oxford doesn't define what words are in English. What Oxford defines is the words that are used in English and how they are used. That might not sound like a difference, but the difference there is English defines words based on how people use them, not based on this arbitrary understanding of how the language is going to be structured, and this is how you must speak the language. English is, this is how people do speak the language, which is a lot more of a natural way of handling it, and more, like, it makes more sense with regular people, because, look, the reason why these words became adopted within the French language is because people have been using them. People have been using esports and pro gamer and things like that, and that just makes, like, it just makes sense that it would become a thing if they are getting involved with those scenes. If that happened with English, like, say for example, with the word esports becoming a thing in English, esports 20 years ago wasn't really a term that anybody used, or pro gamer, or streamer. Actually, streamer's a really good one, because the earlier ones did have meanings that you could infer from other contexts, but streamer probably wasn't really a thing up until, like, maybe 15 years ago, I want to say. And the way that became part of the English dialect is that people started using it, and now if you go to dictionaries, it's now an accepted word in those dictionaries. There's no right way to manage a language, but it is kind of interesting to see there are still languages today which do have a standards body that controls what is actually correct in the language. So if someone tells you that, you know, your grammar is wrong or your spelling is wrong, just tell them that not enough people have accepted it yet, and one day it'll be the correct way to spell the words. Don't do that. The point of the scripted language is that many people use it like that, not that you use it like that. Even though you could technically push the definition like that if you really wanted to. So we've got like half an hour left. I want to talk about this. So there was another trailer. Do not play the audio. Stop it. I don't want to get DMCA'd. There was another trailer for the new Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Superhero. And, you know, you had cool shit like you had Gohan being badass, because the movie's going to be focused around Gohan. That's cool. Gohan's cool. I like Gohan. You had the superheroes they were fighting. You had Pan. She's also going to be in the movie. You've also... Yeah, look, cool stuff happening. Oh, great. Look, fights, great. This is the part I was very, very, very excited about. This right here, slightly earlier, there's a couple of frames, you can see it there. We see Goten and Trunks, and they are finally, after so long, Goten and Trunks are no longer... Oh, perfect. I had the exact point. And now I can't get back to it, can I? There you go. Goten and Trunks are finally teenagers. So there was a time skip after Dragon Ball Z. I think Goten and Trunks probably should have been... I think by this point they're around like... They should be like 15, 16, I think. But during Super, they were already like 15, 16. They just didn't have them age yet. So it makes sense why they had to give Goten a haircut, because if they didn't, he would literally look like Goku. He would just literally look like Goku did in Dragon Ball, which might make sense during the teenage years, but if he got to be an adult and he still had the exact same haircut, it just would not work. And obviously we knew how Trunks was going to look because we've already seen future Trunks, so he just looks like Trunks. But finally, I've been talking about this with one of my mates that this had to happen at some point because there's been so much time. And the thing with Dragon Ball is there actually is like a progression of time. Like characters do get older. I think Goku's in his like 40s or something now. Like characters do get older. You see this most clearly with the human characters, obviously, but the Saiyans get older as well. So now, finally. And I guess it makes sense because Pan is older. Because I think Pan during Super was just a baby. So if you're going to make Pan older... was Pan a baby in Super? I don't remember. Either way, if Pan's going to be here, Pan's going to be doing shit, it makes sense you finally give some attention to Goten and Trunks. I was really annoyed during Super that they had 2 tournament arcs and just completely sidelined Goten and Trunks the entire time. Like, you bring in Master Roshi. Why do you bring in Master Roshi? Like, Master Roshi and Krillin. You have 2 Saiyans here. They confuse. They can go Super Saiyan 3. You could probably get them to go Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. But you're like, you know what? Fuck it. Krillin and Master Roshi. Like, what are we doing here? So, I'm very happy about this. Also, you know, just Gohan being given more attention is good. Gohan being given more attention is very good. Look, I as much as I enjoy Goku and I enjoy Vegeta, and you know they're great characters. I like watching them fight. Gohan, Kid Gohan during the Cell Saga was probably one of the best points of all of Dragon Ball. And that's not like a controversial opinion. A lot of people would pretty much agree with that. So seeing Gohan finally, you know, get some attention is good. Is very good. And Goten and Trunks also attention, which is also very, very good. I guess this may... I don't know. I don't know if this is going to mean that... I know we had like, you know, was it Ultimate Gohan? I think the form was called. Maybe we'll see a new form for Gohan is possible. I don't know. Maybe somehow you like bring in God Key to his ultimate form. That would be nice to see. I don't know if Broly is actually going to get attention in this movie. So what I initially thought was going to happen is you would have the fight going on, everyone would get their ass kicked, basically, and then Broly would just show up at the end and just win. Because as we saw from the Broly... Whatever the Broly move was called. I think it was just called Dragon Ball Super Broly? That sounds right. Broly was much stronger than Goku and Vegeta, and it took both of them to take him down. So you could just reintroduce Broly as a, at the end of this movie, and be like, yo, Broly just saves the day, which would be certainly a change from Goku saves the day, but if it's just going to be a focus on Gohan as well, I think that's also a perfectly fine way to do it, and might be preferred, to be honest, because it just means Gohan gets attention. Maybe we'll see a fusion. Maybe we'll see a... Oh, we might see a Gotenks... We might see a Gotenks fusion. Oh, that would be nice. Teenage Gotenks fusion. And maybe that means they are going to have a new form, because surely if you're going to bring Goten and Trunks back, you're not just going to be like, hey, look, they're just as strong as they were before. Surely not. You've got to do something there. I would hope God Key. I would hope God Key and Super Saiyan Blue. I know they couldn't go past Super Saiyan 1 by themselves. I don't think they could do Super Saiyan 2. At least during the, during Z. So, maybe that's finally gonna change. It would be nice to see it change. It would be very, very, very nice to see it change. I know during some of the side content, like the weird card game anime they have, you see a lot of weird shit. Like, I'm pretty sure Super Saiyan Blue Gotenks has been in that. You just see a lot. Basically every like weird combination of things that could possibly happen happened in that side story. I don't know if we've had. Oh, maybe. It doesn't look like Super Saiyan Blue Gotenks has ever actually happened anywhere, sadly. It'll happen at some point, probably. I would hope. Or they'll move on from Blue before it happens. I know that nowadays in the manga, the focus is on Ultra Instinct, like the perfect Ultra Instinct, and then I think Vegeta's going down like Ultra Ego or something like that. He's got like purple hair now because they realize. I think Toriyama finally realized that having Vegeta be playing catch up the entire time, it does get draining after a while. So they sort of just gave him the Sasuke treatment, where instead of having him learn all of the exact same stuff, he learns a lot of the same stuff, but then basically gets his main power up from something different. It's equivalent in some ways, but you can't make like a direct comparison. Like at any point during Dragon Ball, you could always say, or Dragon Ball Z, you could always say Vegeta is at this power level, or he is this form, Goku is this form. Okay, Goku's more powerful. But if it's like, hey, one has perfect Ultra Instinct, the other one has perfect Ultra Ego, what is better? Don't know. Does it matter? No. I don't get super focused on like, who got the higher power level. I know that a lot of the if you want to see some weird people, go down the Dragon Ball rabbit hole on YouTube, like the Dragon Ball theory rabbit hole, and you'll just find some crazy shit. It's not a it's not a great place to be. I would suggest finding better content, but if you just want to see some people arguing about things that frankly don't matter, it seems like a good way to go about it. I recently changed up like what I eat for lunch, and I've realized this was kind of a terrible idea because I'm quite hungry right now. So I think now I've been having like some fruit and yogurt, and I get to like 4 o'clock, 4:30, and I'm like, I need food. I want to eat. So, I'll finish off the podcast and maybe I'll have dinner slightly earlier. I will probably change. I've been changing up what I'm eating recently just because I need to improve my health a little bit. It's probably not a bad idea. So it's just sort of experimenting with stuff like what I feel best with and things like that. It's not like I feel super tired right now being a bit hungry, but it's not super pleasant to be here recording another 20 minutes of the podcast when be like, I want to eat food. Also, I need to go do some shopping anyway and buy some food. So even if I wanted to go eat something, I would have to delay the podcast for a bit and go out to the shops. So, yeah, this another problem with moving into a new house. You just don't have shit that you think that you should, and you need to deal with it, but you just don't because you don't want to. I will just drink more water. The water will give you sustenance. I actually went out to the living room just before, so we set up the TV out there, and one of the PS4s, Dylan's PS4, he's now playing BBS through the Aqua story. Apparently, he's never played BBS. I played BBS a long time ago. I think I played it on the PS3 version of the HD collection. There was it was back when 1.5 and 2.5 were separate collections, not bundled together. I personally found that I know Terra is if we're going speedrun and we're looking at fighting the secret boss, things like that, Terra is the worst character. There's no real question about that. Terra is kind of just a mess to play. Aqua has her circle guard, which means that you just guard everywhere around you. She has her flip, which is all iframes. Not like, hey, you flip at the start, it's iframes. I think the entire thing is iframes. There might be a bit at the end which isn't, so you can just dodge roll through everything. Ventus then doesn't have the circle guard, but does have not the same flip, but the dodge roll he does have is still pretty iframey. And then Terra, I think what I like, the way of playing games, like, sort of has heavily changed, because Terra's the slowest out of the characters, but I guess none of them are, like, really slow. It's just the slowest out of them. He doesn't have the really nice dodge roll. He doesn't have the really nice guard. He just hits really hard, which hitting really hard isn't really that important when your goal is not dying. And sure, you know, if it dies quicker, then you get hit less. But, you know, if you die in one hit, being able to do more damage isn't the main thing you're generally going to be focused on. Your main focus is going to be on not dying. But honestly, I found that all of them were really fun. If you just fill Aqua's command bar, whatever it was called, with just crazy spells, it just gets super fun like that anyway. So I think the only Kingdom Hearts games that I haven't finished were... I haven't finished Dream Drop Distance. I started playing that and things came up and you just never go around to finishing it. I haven't played 2.8, the Aqua side story, basically the demo of Kingdom Hearts 3, effectively what it is. It was like an engine test for Kingdom Hearts 3. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3, and I haven't played Melody of Memories. So playing those on stream is going to be an interesting experience, because it's just going to be basically me not having really much of an idea what I'm doing. Obviously, Melody of Memories is pretty straightforward. Like, you just go from level to level. But 3, you know, there might come points where I'm like, I don't know what I need to do. But doesn't 3... Actually, 3 might have, like, a quest bar. It tells you just, like, what quests you need. Like, where you need to go, basically. I've tried to avoid a lot of information about KH3. Like, I know some things here and there, but unlike, say, a Souls game or something like that, where when that comes out, you know, I'm going to watch streams, going to watch people play it, things like that. I want to keep a lot of the bosses basically a secret in KH3, so when I go into it, I can fight the bosses and just be like, I don't know what's going on right now, and just die a bunch. I'll probably play it on critical mode because, you know, why the fuck not? It's not a good idea, but hey, when has anything I've done on my streams been a good idea? It's pretty much how it is. Do we have... I think I've gone over many of the topics I actually have here. There's a couple I haven't. I'm trying to work out which one would be a fun last topic. Actually, we'll talk about this one. I'll see if I can find the link for it. I found the link. I didn't include the link in my notes. So, Iogear's latest capture card offers an affordable way to record 4K gameplay. It supports up to 30 FPS 4K capture or 120 FPS 1080p. This is a $200 capture card, which is significantly cheaper than the HD60X. How much is that one? Wait, what? Oh, sorry. No, it's $130, while the HD60X is $199. So it's like $70 cheaper. Also offering, you know, very similar sort of capabilities. Other features, the so-called upstream 4K... Wait, what? Other features of the... Oh, this is called the upstream. Of the so-called upstream 4K game capture card with party chat include the ability to pass through but not capture 4K HDR footage at 60 Hz. Okay. 1440p footage at 144 hertz, and 1080p at 240 hertz. So this could be like a reasonable thing for a capture PC as well. You could actually You know what? I don't know if it's going to work on Linux. I'll have to like check it out, but if I get a capture PC, this might not be like a bad purchase, I would say. Capture cards like these are aimed at content creators like Twitch streamers and YouTubers. No shit. Who else would do? It's literally a game capture card. Who else would be buying a game capture card? Giving them a quick and easy way to retrieve their gameplay footage ready to be broadcast online. No shit. The upstream 4K game capture card is an external device. So it connects to the broadcast PC via USB. Yes. But it's able to capture content from a range of different devices. Yes. Including Xbox consoles and the PS5. This is such a weirdly written article. What is this? So the capture card is compatible with broadcast software, including Streamlabs and XSplit. Of course it is. It's a fucking capture card. The Verge, guys, can you like sort of verify what you're being told instead of just like copy and pasting it from the email? The upstream 4K game capture card also has a workaround for footage protected by HDCP, which is typically used to prevent cards from being able to capture movies and TV shows. Some capture cards will fail to display video when it's HDCP protected. So usually if you're watching like a Blu-ray, things like that, they'll have HDCP protection. Meaning that you have to be unplugged if you want to take a break from playing games to stream Netflix, for example. Also, I guess Netflix has it. Iogear's workaround is a toggle switch that allows it to simply pass through this protected footage and it won't be able to capture it, but it's easier than having to unplug your card entirely. It sounds like the pass-through actually works really well for this. Iogear's new capture card may be able to capture a similar range of resolutions and frame rate, but it doesn't appear to match it spec for spec. There's no mention of being able to capture HDR footage, which no one's streaming HDR footage anyway. So unless you're uploading it to YouTube, like that's really the only place you're going to see that. Also, a lot of games just don't support HDR anyway. Also, no mention of being able to pass through variable refresh rate. Okay, that one actually is kind of compelling. You may want the Elgato for that instead. I did look at this the other week, actually. This is actually kind of a crazy capture card. I don't know how much it would sell. It'd probably be, like, really expensive in Australia. That's the only problem I'd have with it. Also, I've no idea if it works on Linux. Let's find out how much the Australian price is, if it is for sale in Australia. Elgato HD60X Australia is... Oh, sorry, I thought it was, like, the same price. No, that's the HD60S. Is the 60X for sale? It's not that expensive. It's only $300, which, you know, obviously is expensive for a capture card, but I was expecting, like, $350, $400. I don't need a capture card right now, but it certainly is a tempting option if it does work properly. Oh, it says it supports... I see a Zoom logo on here, so it may support Zoom, which may mean that it's also a UVC camera. I'm going to check. HD60X, Linux. Someone surely bought it for Linux. Yeah, here we go. Wait, is this a new one? Wait, is this a new one or the old one? HD... Wait, if we just do 60... No one's mentioning it. Why did it show up when I looked for that? I'm not seeing anyone mention the 60X. I'm seeing a lot of mentions of... Oh, Epos Vox. I don't know if he's going to mention it clearly, Mac and Linux. Oh, okay. Here we go. What does Epos Fox have to say?
And play. It will show up as a webcam to most video conference.
I can't hear it because my speaker is turned off. Let's see. Is it gonna work? Presumably that he has a Mac and Linux section. It probably works in Mac and Linux.
Apps, and it works in Mac too. Well, kinda. When plugging into my M1 Mac,
Okay, that's Mac.
like quite a few UVC capture cards I've actually tested. If you plug it in USB-C thing, don't know if it's unique to this capture card.
Active.
Wait, he's mentioned Linux in here somewhere?
Work. Mac most video conferencing is a UVC capture card. From older consoles or the Nintendo Switch, work just fine too. HD60X is a UVC capture card.
It is a UVC capture card. Okay, awesome. It works on Linux. I'm not going to buy one because that's expensive and I don't need one. My Ava Media is working just fine. My Ava Media Toblerone is working just fine. But, you know, if I needed something that desperately supported pass-through, like very refresh rate pass-through, maybe, like if I bought a capture PC, maybe I would have to get one. Maybe. Honestly, that's a massive boon for anyone who owns variable refresh rate who has a capture PC. Because previously, I don't think you could do variable refresh rate through a capture card. I think you had to just completely ignore it, which, you know, defeats the whole point of having a capture PC and being able to use it as your regular PC if, you know, your refresh rate is just completely sketched out. So that's really cool. I don't know what it maxes out at though. 4K 30 HDR, 1440p 60, 1080p 240 SDR. You know what? I think that's enough. And I'm guessing Oh, that's why we're seeing variable refresh rate. Oh, because the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S support variable refresh rate. Right, so we were just waiting for the consoles to finally support it, and then we're finally going to get capture cards to support it. My guess is probably in like 5 or 6 years, like the default for a capture card is going to be variable refresh rate then. That's really cool to see. I didn't realize that was the case. Awesome, awesome. So that means in 5 to 6 years when you can buy an affordable card, I'll probably buy one. Look, I can get one for like $100 or $150. Like, that's probably when I'll get one. And, you know, by then, my Ava Media is probably going to be, like, conking out anyway. And it might be a good idea to start replacing it. Because, you know, I can't keep it around. I can't keep it around forever. I can try to keep it around for as long as possible. But at some point, it's going to be like, you know what? It's about time that I head out and I close up shop, basically. And, I'm just fiddling with fucking wire tie. Look, I've said this before. If I have something to fiddle with, I'm probably going to fiddle with it. Anyway, on that note, I should probably be heading out as well. I think the week that you're seeing this, I might be doing some Hollow Knight, maybe, unless I'm still playing Jump King with Ren. Because last week, I guess the week that I'm recording this, Jump King with Ren is what happened on the Thursday. I don't know how it goes because right now it is Wednesday. Anyway, that's going to be pretty much it for me. If you like the video, then like the video. If you don't like the video, then remember to go and triple press the like button to know extra how much I hate whatever. You know, you double press the dislike, triple press the like button. Make sure I absolutely have your feedback. And, yeah, main channel is Brody Robertson. I do Linux videos, I do tech videos, I, might talk about my standing desk, I don't know. I've got a gaming channel, Brody Robertson Plays, where I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 2, Jump King, and Hollow Knight. And podcast is this one? Yes. The audio version is available wherever you can find audio podcasts, Anchor, iTunes, all those places. The video version is on YouTube. And I think that's pretty much going to be it for me. So, I'm hungry.